incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. And to discuss this, we are joined on the line by the director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Nuvunga. Adriano, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon.
Now, what are the charges that have been laid against Mondlane? And if found guilty, what punishment is he looking at? We have been reporting that he is facing, incitement to terrorism charge and disobedience. Just break them down for us.
Yes, Mondlane has been charged with 5 charges. One is the organizing for collective disobedience. The other one is on organizing people to commit crimes. But the most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve a 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle. This is clearly looked at as a weaponization of the law to prevent him from standing in the next electoral cycle.
And what sort of reaction are you seeing on the ground with regards to these charges that Mondlane is facing?
Well, before that, perhaps give a bit of context. Mondlane, soon after the end of the protests, which ended through a dialogue with the president, and he argues that there was agreed that there would be easing of tensions, and all political prisoners, and including himself, he would not be facing trial. So there would not be the prosecution would not be going against him and his allies. This number one. Number two, few months later, he applied for the legalization of his political party, Anamalala. The Ministry of Justice has systematically been failing to approve as per the law. So it seems that charging him now is also to fail the legalization of his political party, because if you are being charged, you are going through a trial. You cannot legalize a political party. So the aim is not only to prevent him from standing from the next election, but also here it is a weaponization of the law to frustrate the legalization of his political party.
Now, Adriano, the reaction from Mondlane, he's denied all these, committing any of these charges that he is facing, or these crimes rather. And, he said that he's going to acquire the best international lawyers and local lawyers. And, could we see another uprising from Venâncio Mondlane supporters?
Unlikely. After this historic wave of protests and basically leading to nothing in terms of either power sharing or people seeing that their effort has paid something in terms of shaping the future government, etc. People have moved on. Have moved on also because people have been targeted. They have been killed by the police, and death squads are still out there attacking Acharadis, attacking those who are pro-democracy, and attacking Venâncio Mondlane's supporters. So it is very unlikely to see another wave of protests in reaction to that.
Now, what sort of time frames are we looking at all of this unfolding? He's denied the charges against him. He's denied committing any of these. And as you say, there has been continued, frustration on his supporters and so on. But to ensure peace in Mozambique, what should all political leaders do in the country? And for a stability to continue in the country, especially now, with you say it's unlikely, but there is a slight possibility that it may happen.
Absolutely. Now, your question as to what is needed to be done, I think we are not yet ready for that sort of question. Mozambique's 3.5 decades of democratic experiment has been underpinned by violence because electoral governance is very fraudulent, and the state machinery is there to protect the Frelimo rule and not to allow people to freely participate and the rule of law to prevail. We are not yet there. So that would be a question for another time. But what I see happening here is towards if now that Mondlane has been charged, he is given by law 15 days to reply. He will reply. And then the process is submitted to the Court of Justice. And there we are looking in terms of timelines. Towards the end of the year, we expect to see the beginning of the trial process, which is going to be a very long, frustrating process, because once you are in such a process, it means they limit your movements, they limit what you can do. And the objective here is also to kind of bring Mondlane down by frustrating him, by occupying him with defending himself in the Court of Justice. And towards the end of this cycle of governance, let's say 2027, 28, we will see a verdict. And the verdict, again, is going to be highly politicized, again, to frustrate him from standing on the next election. So this is not moving in the direction of peace and reconciliation. Is moving in the direction of polarization and seen also as a provocation by the judiciary to Mondlane's supporters, which they, in reality, they do exist. They're out there, and we have been seeing what they're capable of doing. But it seems that the level of weaponization of the judiciary is such that they are ready to go that direction instead of reconciling, promoting a constructive dialogue that will bring stability and peace and prosperity to the country.
Now, very quickly, Adriano, in wrapping up, clearly he's got huge support in terms of financially as well, because if you speak of international lawyers, apart from the local lawyers being expensive, international lawyers will clearly be extremely expensive. He has a lot of support and backers who are, behind him. Tell us about that very briefly.
I see commoners, ordinary citizens supporting him with 1 medical, 2 medical, 3. So he has that sort of support. People are contributing to this. But of course, there is support, as we see, travels internationally, and he's welcomed in many capitals in the West. It seems that he has such capacity to mobilize those lawyers. And I think they will be available also pro bono, some of them, to come and support him from what I've seen.
Yeah. Well, Adriano, we'll have to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. That's the Director of the Center for Democracy and Development, the CDD, Adriano Nuvunga, joining us on the line.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Thulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Thulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is